next guest I met through Rabbi Coopersmith.
Yeah, me too.
Right, which we're really excited now to bring on Sarah Pachter, who is an amazing motivational speaker. She speaks to large audiences all over the world. She's an author of 2 books. One is called Is It Ever Enough? And one is called Small Choices, Big Changes. She's a dating coach. She's very busy. But really, like I said, how I've gotten to be connected and know her is that she's a regular writer for Aish.com. Anyone who reads Aish.com is reading Sarah Pachter's articles, really some of the most meaningful and impactful content that we're putting up on a regular basis. So we're excited.
And popular. Is popular.
Super popular. Excited to bring on Sarah Pachter.
Hi, how are you?
Sarah. Beautiful right out. This is not officially in your bio, but you're my fashion icon too. We'll just say that.
How are you? I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for that beautiful introduction.
Sarah, we love you so much. Thank you for coming to us from LA. I love to be connected with you from around the world. We want to know, why is it important that Jews worldwide need to vote in this election? Like, you got involved for a reason, and why do the rest of us have to get involved as well and follow suit?
That's such a great question. And I think that every single American Jew needs to vote, and they need to know that they can vote. And I'm going to tell you why. Since October 7th, I have interviewed hundreds of individuals. I'm talking about Nova survivors. I'm talking about IDF soldiers, students on campus that are being attacked on the daily, Jewish parents who've lost their kids in Nova or lost their children in war. And it is so disheartening. I'm telling you, I have to look at them in the eyes, and I see their pain, and I see their struggle, and I see their tears and their fears. And yes, I'm writing articles, and, I'm speaking their stories, throughout the US and abroad, but we can't just keep talking and speaking. We need to have action. And the way that we're going to have action is by securing seats on the WZO Congress. It's time for action, not only to run, but it's time for the action to vote. So I'm standing up for their story, and we all need to stand up for their story, because if we don't, it becomes our story. So I really believe every single Jewish American needs to vote. The vote is your power. Your vote is your voice for change. That's really what it comes down to.
Absolutely amazing. So you're out there speaking to so many Jews every day. And I know that you're inspiring so many, but you're also meeting people and hearing people and listening to what people are talking about. I'm wondering if, the platform that Aish Ha'am is running on, like, what parts of it do you think are the most relevant? Like, what is really that you see out there that what Aish is about is really speaking to people?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think that the most important messages for me, and I think we all know this, is that as Jews, we're not going anywhere. We are the eternal nation. And what we're seeing today, it's not anything new. It's just a resurfacing of an ancient story. All this anti-Semitism, it's been around, but we are here to stay. And I think that despite the fact that we're the Am HaNetzach, the eternal nation, it doesn't mean that we're not going to have individual struggle and collective challenges. And so something that I'm really talking about a lot is resilience and grit. And I'm seeing that a lot. I've interviewed hundreds of individuals with unbelievable stories of resilience, but it's not just that resilience is laced into our spiritual DNA. I think it's the ability for every Jew to display compassion, because when a lot of other people, when they're hurt, they hurt others. But when a Jew is hurt, we choose an elevated response of compassion. And I think that's actually the superpower of every single Jew. And I'd like to prove it to you. There's a famous question. I don't know if you heard it, but what do we learn from Auschwitz? People ask, like, what do we learn from Auschwitz? And we say, okay, like, we learn never to forget, and we learn that we always have to remember, and that, we know we can fight back. But I think that we also learn that 5 men can share 1 blanket. What am I talking about? In Auschwitz, as the Jews were lining up, the Nazis, Yimach Shemam, gave every 5th guy a blanket. And that Jew had a decision. Am I going to share this blanket, or am I going to hoard it for myself? And 90% of the Jews in Auschwitz, under the most inhumane conditions, chose to share their blanket. And so I feel that compassion is really built into the spiritual DNA of every Jew. So it doesn't matter what the world is saying about us. They can say we're committing genocide. They can say that we're rats. They can call us dogs. They can say whatever they want. We know that as Jews, we are always going to choose the elevated response of compassion. And we see this globally in Auschwitz, but we see this also today, and we see this on an individual level. You know, someone that I interviewed recently, she is in stage 4 colon cancer, and she's terminally ill. She's literally jogging 6 miles a day, if you can believe it. But the craziest part about it all is that I called her on a Friday for like a follow-up question. She emails me back, get this, she goes, "I'm so sorry I couldn't get to my email or my phone. I'm hosting for Shabbos." So she's in pain. And rather than staying in her pain, she's choosing compassion to share her Shabbat meal with other people. And we saw this also, Jamie, with what you used the article for the October 7th documentary from the man that I interviewed, where, you know, he lost his son in Nova. And what does he do as a Jew? Instead of wallowing in his pain and, you know, being an angry person, what does he do? He decided that every single Israeli soldier that wants to get engaged, he's going to gift them a diamond ring because he's a jeweler. Where else do you see a nation like that, where we take the pain and we turn it into purpose, and we give back, and we have compassion and resilience? And that's really the story and the song of the Jewish people.
I'm so happy you brought that up. It's so true. Your articles are so uplifting, and always, as you said, pain with purpose and finding the resilience. And that's when I saw that story, I said, this has to be turned into a movie. And I almost feel that about all of your articles. So we should only have the ability to do that, and to bring to the screen, to bring to life what you so eloquently put in terms of pen to paper. And everyone can just follow Sarah, and you can go to Aish.com and you can just search and see all of her articles, because each one is better and more uplifting than the next. The last question I have for you, Sarah, before we hop off, is you're a mentor to so many people. What are you finding that people need most at this time? And for those of us that don't have the same skills as you, when we see what we're probably experiencing, that our friends and our community, our neighbors need the same thing, what is sort of the best advice or strength, or how can we help those around us? So what do people need? How are you helping? And from there, we can learn what we can do.
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm going to answer in a sort of convoluted way, but it's going to answer the question. You know, I spoke in Memphis on Sunday night a few nights ago, and the organizer told me, she said, you know, if we're lucky, we'll get 40 people. If we're dreaming, we'll get 60 people. And we ended up, there were 100 RSVPs. She had to turn people away because it was actually also a babka bake. You'd be very proud of me, Jamie. It was my first time making babka. You know, they did a babka bake also. But anyways, they had to turn people away because they didn't have the supplies enough for everybody. Why am I telling you this? I walk into the room, people of all stripes, every type of Jew you could imagine. There were women their whole bodies filled with tattoos. There were women, their whole body was completely modestly clad, everything from Reform, Orthodox, conservative, everything all coming together under one roof in unity. And I think that's really what we need more than anything else. People need to know that they are loved. People need to know that we are uniting together. We're here for one another. I care about you. You care about me. It's not what can I get from you or what can you do for me? It's here we are together fighting the same battle, the same cause, learning together. And I think that's what people really, really need more than anything, is that sense of we belong. You're a Jew. I don't care what you look like. We're together. And that's what I really think tonight is about, and what Aish is all about.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, like Jamie said, your writing on Aish.com is a highlight for thousands of people that are reading your articles, and we're so excited that you've joined Aish in this election, and because you believe in Aish and you're part of the family, and we're excited for the next few months. Thank you so much for everything you've done already, that you continue to do, and like we've said so many times, we got to get Sarah Pachter into the World Zionist Congress. We got to get her as a delegate. So please go to aish.com/vote. If you haven't yet, register with us so we can keep you updated until the election, which is going to be coming in March. And thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.